Hey, what's up everyone? I think it's time I do this video. I've been wanting to for a while. I wanted to do sort of like an update and sort of what's coming type of video, sort of after the new year. And then a lot of things, you know, keep happening and I just have so much going on. So then it kind of, I sort of wanted to do something else where I sort of talk about, you know, who I am and my past and certain things like that. And so I just sort of morphed those two together, and that's what, you know, what this video is going to be. So, you know, I've been doing a lot better since I've been working almost nonstop. I've been a lot happier. And so the negativity that I normally would be dealing with has sort of been trying to creep back in lately. So I figure it also took me a minute to really kind of get to doing this video as well, because I really felt like I needed to write down sort of what I wanted to say before. I wrote about like 3 or 4 pages. I've got it like right here. I'm looking at it just so, you know, I can, I guess, sort of like a teleprompter, some type of, you know, do-it-yourself teleprompter. But I know if I just wing it as well, this video will be a lot longer than it should. So I wanted to make this because, you know, for clarification, but also the biggest reason this whole journey is about becoming the best version of myself, which includes being honest and authentic. If I'm not doing those things, then, you know, what's the point? Like, there's no point in me doing any of this. Like, all of this, what I'm doing right now is completely idiotic. Like, because I'm literally just putting myself out here to the entire world. So, like, if I'm being fake about this, like that would just, I don't know, like, I can't even fucking fathom that, like, why I would even waste my time and energy doing that. But, I mean, I understand what all of this looks like. I know to most people, you know, what I'm doing is weird or probably fake, or I'm, you know, pretending. I understand. I get it. Like, I'm self-aware. I know how people think. So, you know, but I'm, you know, this is what I want to do. And so I'm going to do it. You know, I can't change for the better and show anyone else how to do it if I'm not living it myself. So I want to talk about my past a little bit and sort of, you know, I don't know. So you can sort of get to know a little bit about me, and I guess also just sort of understand that this whole journey is about, you know, a trajectory of who I was and into who I am now, and, you know, who I will continue to be as I evolve. I'm not going to get super personal because obviously, you know, it's still my life and other people are or were involved. So, I mean, you know, I want to respect them as well. You know, this isn't, you know, I'm not doing this as some type of, you know, reality TV show or some world star type shit. It's not like what this is, you know. All right, so to start this off, I'll tell you some small things about me, you know, just sort of, I guess, background type stuff. I'm an only child. Yes, I'm weird. I know, I get it, whatever. I'm also left-handed, so there you go. I'm one big fucking weirdo to the world. For a big chunk of my life, I thought that I was an introvert, but really, I'm more of an extroverted introvert. I'm really selective with, like, who I let in, and yes, I really, really, really hate small talk. Like, I'm sorry, like, it's gotta be meaningful or, like, get out. I'm sorry, like, I don't, you know, I can't apologize for that. I also actually enjoy being alone, and when I say that, I guess I mean more, like, you know, probably more than most people, because, I mean, I've kind of been forced to be alone for, you know, big chunks of my life so far. So, I mean, I'm kind of used to it by now. I also just kind of like me more than anyone else, really. I mean, I'm not trying to sound like arrogant or anything. I mean, I just really do. I mean, I don't really know what else to say. I was bullied pretty much from, it's got dark quick, from daycare, pretty much, I guess, all the way through high school. It was more frequent when I was a child than it was like in middle school and high school, because obviously middle school and high school I was, you know, older, so I had a little bit more confidence, but I didn't really I didn't really gain a lot of confidence until probably around 9th, 10th grade. It toned down a little bit more as I got older because I, started defending myself more. I never really had many friends. I mean, I knew a lot of people. I was social, I wasn't I wasn't just some completely, awkward, weird kid. I mean, I had my awkward phase, obviously. I mean, I went through a pretty nerdy, awkward phase, but, I don't know. It was weird. I've had a couple of best friends and, we were really close, but I don't know. Ultimately, we just drifted apart. So, I mean, and then the group of friends that I sort of hung around with sort of consistently, I guess. I don't know. Ultimately, I guess we just didn't really mesh well. I mean, there were some things that were, compatible, I guess, but like, I don't know. I just always felt kind of unwanted or disliked or something secretly. Like, I don't know. There's just always a weird vibe. Like, I don't know. It was just, I was never part of the group outside of school as well. So it was like, I mean, obviously there was something there, but, whatever. So I basically just sort of disappeared from that group after high school. I mean, I think there was probably a few times I may have hung out with them after we all graduated, maybe, but I mean, it wasn't really that many. And I just sort of, disappeared because I was like, I mean, there's really no point. After high school, I tried doing the college thing, tried it twice actually, didn't really work out. I mean, my head wasn't really in the right space the first time anyway. It was in the wrong place, so that probably wouldn't have worked out regardless, even if it was in the right space, because I mean, I don't really like school at all, but I tried it. It just wasn't for me. It's never really been my thing. In terms of grades, I wasn't really the greatest. I mean, honestly, I think I like barely even graduated, which is probably weird to even say because most people who know me talk about like how smart I am and shit, and so it's just funny if people really knew how shitty I was in school and how like I literally had to fucking like work, basically do shit literally up until my last day of school. Like as a senior, I didn't even get to like relax. There was hardly anybody at the school that last day. Like everybody was out like celebrating because they were like, yeah, like we're done with high school. I was literally in the classroom like doing some exam, like a final exam, just so I could graduate. Like in Miss O'Brien's class, it was probably like what was it, chemistry, human anatomy, one of those. But yeah, man, I mean, like I hated school. Socially, like I liked school, obviously, I mean, I was a teenage boy. Like, I mean, obviously I was into girls and like, shooting the shit with the boys and shit, you know what I'm saying? So I mean, I was into that shit, but I mean, I don't know, school just wasn't for me. My whole life, honestly, I mean, I really just loved movies. Like, I mean, really art in general. I mean, I just love art. Like, I love just creativity and creating shit, like, period, in any medium practically. So, I mean, it really, I mean, I've also been writing for most of my life, so it kind of makes sense, I guess. And to be honest, my love of movies actually kind of came out of my parents struggling, because they were struggling financially. And so basically what we would do is we only had a few like VHS tapes, like a select few, movies like Back to the Future, Tombstone. Oh man, what else was there? There was all kinds of shit, man. Oh, damn. But there was a select few, and we would just watch those like over and over, and a lot of them were classic. Field of Dreams was one. There were a lot of classic movies. There was a lot of, modern movies, just different things like that. But we didn't have that many, and, they didn't have a lot of money. And, I was a child. So, I mean, honestly, I didn't really understand everything that was going on. I just enjoyed, spending time with them and watching movies. But I think that's honestly where my love of that came from, because we did that so much because, I mean, didn't really have much else to do. So with all of that together, I feel like it only makes sense that I would want to make movies. I mean, they're just so powerful to me. And I mean, honestly, sometimes, I mean, this will probably sound really corny, but sometimes I feel like without movies and music, I don't know if I'd be here. I mean, honestly, like I've had so many profound experiences And because I guess I've been alone so much, and so it's like, because of being alone, I just used escapism, which is usually consuming content. That's usually how we, escape. That's honestly one of the biggest reasons I want to make them as well. I really honestly would love to make people feel what I feel every time I watch like a really, really great movie. Like, I wish I could make people see and feel like what I see and feel. And, unfortunately, after high school and, even through college and all that, I really just lost myself. I lost who I was. My head was just, really just all in the wrong places, and it just led me to a place where, I didn't have any friends. I didn't have a girlfriend. I didn't have anything, and I lived with my parents, and I really just literally did nothing but watch movies, play video games, write, or make videos for social media. But I mean, even then it wasn't really consistent, and I was making different types of videos anyway than I'm doing now, and I didn't even really fully get social media like I do now, or at least, I mean, I'm not an expert or anything, but I understand it a lot more than I did back then. And everything was also newer back then as well, and a lot of the stuff that exists now didn't exist when I was making those videos. So the landscape has just drastically changed from back then anyway. I was very alone and depressed. And I mean, really honestly, pretty much up until, I guess a few months ago, about 4 to 6 months ago, I mean, is about how long that lasted. Me basically being, or I guess me being depressed, sort of. I mean, I guess I still sort of feel alone. I mean, I guess I understand now why a lot of these, like, influencers and people who do this talk about how lonely it is, because I feel that shit for real. But during that period, after I went to college, the first time, up until December of this past year, 2018, there were a few things that came along that helped ease the pain. I have 4 beautiful daughters. Their names are Riley, Nora, Amelia, and Olivia. Amelia and Olivia are actually fraternal twins, and they were born in December. So they are split between 2 women, Riley and Nora with one, and Amelia and Olivia with another one. I actually don't get to see AJ and Liv as much as I really want to, because I mean, one, they live in a different city, and I mean, it's probably just under an hour away, and but the situation is weird right now, and I work literally all the time basically, and so I'm trying to just figure it out. I don't get to see them as much as I would really like to. My daughters have really helped me more than they'll ever know, honestly, because even though a lot of times I do still feel alone, like, I know that I'm not, it's weird how your brain works, but it's like, because of them being here, it's just really helped me, because I was an only child, and I don't know, loneliness has just been a theme of my life. And so I guess it's just nice to, one, my children aren't only children. So they're, they actually have siblings and things like that. But also, two, I'm a part of that because I'm their father. And so, I don't know. I guess it's just, special to me, and it means a lot to me, because, I just want to give them what I didn't have, I guess. I don't want them to feel the way that I feel, or the way that I grew up. Not that it was terrible or anything, but, it's just being an only child is just, I just think that's, in a lot of ways, I just feel like that's really rough on a person, so anyway, yeah, I mean, they've honestly really helped. I mean, without them, honestly, I really don't know where, I mean, really without my escapism and them, really, I don't know where that loneliness would have taken me, honestly, because, I mean, I've really been to a lot of dark places mentally, and so, I mean, who knows, really, honestly, what really would have happened. Really, the reason I'm tying some of that into this is because that particular situation that I was just speaking of is a piece of the negativity that I speak of in my videos, especially, I guess, when I'm referring to me directly. The negativity, the things that I deal with, my setbacks and all these different things that I'm in, my situation that I'm dealing with, that the situation with them is, a little part of that, as you might figure. But I'll be completely honest here. This journey is pretty new, and so, I'm not going to sit up here and lie and pretend, I was a toxic person before this. Honestly, I could probably pick almost any point in time when it could have started. I don't know, honestly, because to be honest, I don't know if you could really say there's a point of origin, because it really started from my environment. And so and the things that I've seen and the things that have happened, when I was growing up. So, I mean, I'm not trying to say it's anyone else's fault by any means or justify my behavior. I'm just saying, when you don't grow up in positive environments, or you don't see love and different things like that, or you don't receive it and different things like that, you don't know. Hey, you can't really give that to others, because you can't even give it to yourself. You don't know how to give it to yourself, and no one has shown you, how that even works. So it's like, then you go out and then you fucking do shit. You know what I'm saying? Like I said, I'm not trying to say like my parents or my environment, all these things are like there to blame for my toxicity and my mistakes. I'm just saying, I feel like because I've taken the time to really committing to changing myself and trying to be a better person, I guess I really understand the importance of it not really defining you or being the end of you or your entire story. I've made a lot of mistakes. I've hurt a lot of people. I've hurt myself, obviously, in the process of doing that. Because a lot of those people I've hurt, I guess really all of them, I don't know if I'd really say a lot, but, I cared about them, at least in some capacity or another, or at least at one point, even if I might not now, like, you know what I mean? So, and honestly, that a lot of that does still bother me, and that's one reason I wanted to do this video too, because of the trajectory of who I was into who I am, like I said, and also because I do want to let go of it. I want this to be, me get it out, and you understand that, this isn't just talk. Like I don't have a problem owning up. I want to own my truths, because that's how you change. You have to be self-aware, and I've been self-aware. Even before I started this journey, and I was making mistakes and doing all these things, I was aware of it, and so I fully believe on some level that everyone, even when they're making mistakes, is still aware of what they're doing. A lot of times, sometimes people really don't know like how to go about it. There are a lot of people obviously who don't want to change, don't get me wrong, who don't. But even through all my mistakes, I always wanted to change, because I always knew that who I'm becoming and who I am as of this moment and who I'm continuing to evolve into is who I've always been here. Up in here, I've always seen this, like what you're seeing now and what you're going to continue to see. Like I've seen that my whole life. All of my mistakes just finally caught up with me. Some of these people that I've hurt as well, not only did I really care about them, but some of these people I may never speak to again. I may never see physically, like in real life, ever again. That's life. That's life, especially when you're toxic and you're unhappy and miserable and you're a loser, basically. I mean, you push people away. You make mistakes. I mean, that's the thing, is I'm learning that it really is all about choices. Like, you do have control. Like, you don't have to, make bad choices. Like, I say that just because I know, even though that might sound obvious, a lot of people really don't know how to stop making bad choices. I mean, that's a real thing. Like, people don't know. And I mean, I know because I went through that. Like, I'm only just now, like, really fully understanding this shit and, like, actually growing the fuck up. Like, so I'm just saying, all of these choices and mistakes, they led me here. And, I understand that. And that's why I take full responsibility for them. That's why I don't complain or dwell about the things that I guess I wish were different in my life. I don't complain or dwell about that anymore, because they would have been that way had I just not, been stupid, like, been an idiot, like, and made mistakes. Like, you know what I mean? Like, if I hadn't been toxic, or, if I hadn't have done this or that, whatever. So, I'm just saying, it's just one of those things where I guess I'm just real with myself up here. It's like, I can't get mad about something if it's my fault. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, if it's my fault, then, I can get mad at myself, I guess. But, like, you get what I'm saying. Like, I can't get mad at someone else or, like, go complain about it. It just sort of hit me that I knew I had, two choices moving forward from this moment. All of my mistakes had caught up, to me. And so I just had enough. And so I knew that this was it. I knew I had two choices: either continue down this path of negativity and hurting people and yourself and never being happy, or pick yourself up and take control. Like, and just rebuild your life. Like, I knew that the first choice wasn't an option. So that's why I decided to start doing this. I decided to start documenting basically the journey of basically a human being becoming the best version of themselves, and trying to just learn from their mistakes and just try to be an actual good person, and hopefully in the process of all that change the world. Maybe maybe someone else who's struggling can watch this journey and see, like, okay, hey, he did it. Like, and maybe my situation was worse than yours. You might even end up finding that out, or whatever. I mean, that's just how things work. There's always someone who might have it worse anyway. So it's all about perspective. And that's why I want to do this, because I want to show that even with my situation, as bad as it might get to me sometimes, I know that, I'm alive. I'm in the best shape of my life, which, means I'm healthy, or at least, as healthy as I can be. I'm here. I have 4 beautiful daughters. So that really just puts things into perspective for me. It makes me realize that, I can get through this. Like, I can, whatever's weighing me down and trying to drain the energy, it's temporary. Like, you can get through this. And so basically I was living with my parents again. This is pretty much kind of right before a lot of this journey and everything started. I was living with my parents again. I'd gotten fired from my job. I was a security guard at a hospital. And so I was unemployed, which also meant I was broke. That and the fact of, like, me just, being like used to be a super fucking lazy human being in general. Like, that led to a lot of tension between me and my parents, and really pretty much everybody. Really, in general. And so basically, long story short, me and my parents really got into it, and I ended up getting kicked out. And I didn't have anywhere to go other than where Riley and Nora's great grandmother lived. And so that's where I went, and that's where I've been and where I'm currently at now. I decided that I needed to document the journey of rebuilding my life, because I love creating content in general. I love doing all this, but one of the most important things to me is being able to own my truths and providing value. And like I said, just being able to show you a trajectory of who I was into who I am now and who I continue to evolve into being. And I mean, basically, I just want to show that this isn't all talk. You know, I've talked a lot over, you know, my whole life about all this. You know, everything I'm doing now, I've talked about it. You know, I've tried to justify my dreams and tell people I'm going to do this, do that, whatever. Well, I don't want to talk anymore. I mean, you know, other than for clarification and different things like this. But I just want to show you that this is real and that you can do things like this. Over the course of this entire journey, you're going to see me, Michael, and Ethan work our asses off. I mean, this journey really started, like, personally for me, probably, I don't know, I'd probably more accurately say maybe about 4 to 5 months ago, but I'll just round it up to 6 because, you know, the first vlog episode was probably about 3 months ago, or a little over 3 months ago now. And really the first couple of months of everything, I was really just doing a lot of self-reflection and planning and just sort of getting in my own head before I really, like, started executing. So, I mean, really, I guess in total about 6 months, even though really, like, video-wise documented, you know, probably, you know, 3 to 4 months. But since then, you know, during all that time, since I really started about 6 months ago, I've written a movie that, you know, me, Michael, and Ethan are in the process of getting made. I reconnected with them in general because I haven't, you know, we were, when I went to college a second time, that's actually where I met them. We were in a film program together, and then after that, you know, I mean, we would talk here and there, and I think maybe we even hung out a few times here or there. But I started this vlog with them, and I've grown my social media presence across the board in general. All of this content that we produce now is distributed across YouTube, Facebook, Instagram, iTunes, and Spotify, with plans to expand even more down the road. We might play around with a few other platforms just to kind of see if something, you know, might stick. I also got a job at the gym that I work out at, which is convenient and awesome. And it's a great gym anyway, with a great atmosphere. So it's perfect. Like, I mean, and I say that because it's a positive atmosphere, and so it really works with all the positivity and optimism shit I'm on right now. So, but and also with that, I'm in the process of working on trying to become certified as a personal trainer. Because since I've really gotten into fitness, it's actually become a bigger passion of mine. And so it's been really fun and interesting sort of being or joining that community and being a part of it, because I wasn't before, obviously. So I've really just been embracing new experiences in general, really. I also jumped into the e-commerce game. I started a dropshipping business just over a month ago now, and it isn't a total failure. So, you know, I'm actually about to start scaling because it's getting a little overwhelming now, and you're actually going to see that in the next vlog episode, because we already shot the vlog episode, but I wanted to film this first because, like I said, the negativity lately has been, you know, trying to creep back in and basically just trying to drain my energy. And so I just wanted to make this video and just, you know, really put this out there so I can really put all of this behind me and then just sort of move forward and execute from here on out. You'll see me discussing the business with them. You'll see us discussing how we can not only grow the business, but how we can use it to help with other projects and stuff like that. You know, like using it to help fund our movies or whatever it is we might want to do. Any type of creative endeavor we want to pursue. You know, we can have some type of way to be able to fund that for ourselves and make it happen. You know what I mean? And so basically, with all of that said, it's really only been, you know, basically, like I said, about half a year. And I feel like I've accomplished so much while also, like, feeling like I've barely started. You can do anything if you really commit and work. Seriously. Like, I know that's said so much and it's so cliche. I understand all of that, but it's true. That's why it continues to be said. And that's why I will also be one of the people that continues to say it, because it's the truth. Like, it is a process, but I went from in this small amount of time, and it's not over yet. Like, I'm not saying this as if I've just won and it's game over. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, this journey is still going. Like, but I'm just, like I said, it's about the trajectory. And so obviously, you know, as things scale and level up, I want to also remember, you know, how we got there. And so in this short amount of time, I've basically gone from being like practically a total loser, you know, what the I'm sure what the internet, Twitter, Instagram would probably call a fuckboy, that lazy, unemployed, like, pretty much you name it. Like, I was that, like, you know what I'm saying, toxic, whatever, miserable, unhappy, whatever, name it. That was me. I've gone from all of those things to not being those things, to getting in my own head and now being practical and executing. I'm not talking, you know. I discovered Gary Vaynerchuk, and it's kind of like basically he sort of woke up the 16-year-old me, because the 16-year-old me was like I wasn't mentally in the right headspace. Like, I was still like that teenager with a little bit of that toxicity that was coming up until now. And so, but that creative, that relentless, resilient, like, oh, I'm gonna do this shit, I don't give a fuck like how I look, who says I'm stupid, like, I'm doing this shit, like, that, he woke that shit back up. Like, that Brandon is back. And so that's just what I'm trying to get you to understand, is that it's entirely possible. If anyone is watching this and they're struggling right now and they don't have any fucking clue, like, I'm telling you, one, the information is all there so that you can do it. But two, it's possible. It's not all just talk. It's not all just what you see on the internet and all these things. Like, it is possible. You just have to do you. You have to love yourself. That's self-awareness and self-love. Like, that needs to be like where, like, what people are told, because that's going to be your foundation. Because without those, you can't really get to the other side. Like, you just can't get there. You got to start. I mean, everything starts with a foundation. And so, to me, if you don't have self-awareness and you're not loving yourself, or at least in the process of learning to, if you're not already, like, you know what I mean? I mean, I guess it's really a process forever anyway, really, but you get what I'm saying. If you're not already, you know, in that process or kind of far along in the process, then, I mean, I don't see how you could go from, you know, being unhappy to happy. I just don't, you know, because money isn't going to do it. And I don't see it. So I'm matching my actions with my ambition. You know, if you met me 6 months ago, seriously, like, if you met me 6 months ago, you would not be talking to this Brandon that you're seeing right now. Now, to a lot of people, that might sound stupid or ridiculous, but I'm going to be honest, I really don't give a shit, because you really don't need a whole lot of time. You really don't. It's really all about this and you and your mindset. And if you are absolutely committed, like, that's bottom line. If you are willing to be self-aware and actually love yourself and take full responsibility for your actions, even your mistakes, all the bad shit, you got to take responsibility for that. You got to learn that it's you. Then once you do that, you can learn to let go and move forward. You know, I mean, obviously not forget, but like, you can learn to let go of the past and move forward and try to work on yourself and love yourself, because then you realize you are in control. And once you realize that, then you're basically free. You're liberated, because you're like, okay, everything's my fucking fault. So, like, shit, just, like, don't fucking be a shitty person. Like, I mean, you know what I'm saying? You know, I understand it's not exactly that simple. It's one of those things that it's still a process. It's easier said than done. I'm just saying, you know, it's literally just like, don't just be a nice person. In all of that, you know, in trying to do all of that, the negativity will continue to try to always creep in, because that's just human fucking nature. And so you can't listen to it. Don't listen to the negativity. I did literally for over 10 years. That's why you're seeing me do this now instead of a long fucking time ago. Like, because I would have done this a long time ago had I realized like this shit a long time ago, and had I stopped being a fucking loser. So learn to love yourself and go after what you want. You'll be a lot happier. Don't do what I did. Start now. Seriously. Just to prove I wrote all this shit down, yeah.